Right, we're at the fantastic Packington Somers Coarse Fishery on one of my favourite little lakes. It's called Gratuities, and it's a lovely little lake. There's all sorts in here. I've been coaching here today on the pole. We've just been fishing short on the pole. We've caught some nice quality silverfish, some F1s, quite a few sticks and stuff. We've left the island and the far bank and the open water completely alone. But I've seen a few chub about, and I'm itching to see if I can catch a few of those chub on worms on a little cage feeder. And you see that? So that's what we're going to try and do. We might not see a chub, but it just rekindle my memory to try and fish a little chop worm feeder, a little bit of ground bait, a little bit of mince worm, and a worm on the hook, and see what we can catch chucking to the point of the island. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to have an hour, maybe 2 hours if we're lucky, on the chop worm feeder. Let's see what we catch. So here we go. So that's my camera. Hopefully we've got the point of the island and me in shot. Let's see what we've got. And this is all we've got tackle wise. Little feeder arm, got my F25 minus foot plate, my little commando mission box. I've mixed up a little bit of F1 dark, and just a little bit there. We might knock some more up, but that's plenty. Yeah, all we've got is, let's have a look. We've got some worms. We're going to chop those ones up. Got these for the hook. Always keep the ones for the hook in mud, stop them drying out. I've got a few dead maggots as a change bait, maybe pop a few in the mix. Chop worm scissors. I'm chucking a tiny little 3-hole cage feeder. These are an old matrix version, about 15 gram I think they are, maybe 20 gram. That's all you need. I have got a larger 20 gram matrix one if we need to put a little bit more pudding in. But it's only a short session. I just want to make quick casts with a bit of chop worm and see what we catch. I could have brought casters, you know, I could have brought casters, but there's no need. This is all we need today. A bit of mince worm, a bit of nice F1 dark ground bait, worm or maggot on the hook. Happy days. I'll just show you my setup quick. So I've got my favourite 9-foot little bottom rod, 2.7 metre, and then a little 3000 reel, and then let's pop it on my chest. There we are. Let me show you that easier. So I've got a little free running feeder, and I've gone for a swivel bead there, and a quick chain swivel attachment, so I've got a little collar there. I can slide it down and put my hook length on and off, different hook lengths if I want, and that's just a little plastic bead over the top. Hopefully you can see that. And that's free running, but I have popped a little rubber float stop just to stop the feeder rolling all the way up to my tip, and sometimes it helps set the hook a little bit. I could move it right down to the feeder, but that's it. But I'm going to keep it about 6 to 8 inches away to begin with. And then hook length wise, I've got about a foot. I've got a 14 MXC2, and this is on 018. So that's all we need to begin with. So let's chop some wurzels up and get fishing. So I'm just going to find it. I've just got a handful of worms there. Got most of the mud out. I've just riddled most of the soil out. A little bit of mud don't do any harm. Let's mince these up nice and fine. And I'm going to fish till these have run out. You see I've got a small tub. Don't chop them up in a big tub. You'll be chasing the worms around all over the place. I don't mind some big bits and little bits and all sorts in there. I don't mind if they hang out the feeder. But that's it. Really I want my hook bait to be the biggest bit, but I don't mind an odd big bit in there. That's the most brutal part of the job. The scourger. Pop that up there. Right, so I haven't made any casts other than to get my range. It's only about 20 odd metres, I think, 20 metres, something like that. Let's pop a worm on. I generally, for a commercial, I hook it in the darker head because it's more resilient, and then break off a bit. So we'll break off a little bit, pop that in our worm mix, and that's it. So as I say, I don't know what we're going to catch. We might just catch little perch. We could catch anything. So I'm just going to pop a little pinch of chopped worm, a few deads in there, and we're just going to make quick casts, minute casts, something like that. So it's sort of oozing out. I want it to explode out there. We've had a lot of bites on the drop today, even with pellets and that. We've had some big roach. We've had some lovely quality silvers. So I'm probably a couple of feet, 2 or 3 feet off the far bank to begin with. We might creep closer, but I thought we'll come a metre away. I say we could just catch carp, but I'm quite keen to catch other species as well, which is where the chopped worm feeder comes in. We've had a lot of hand-sized skimmers today. I've had a roach about 14 ounce when I sat on his box. Some lovely looking F1s. We've not actually seen any carp other than cruising, but it's really hot, really humid today. So the fish have been a little bit funny, to be honest. And on the pole there's been lots of sticks on the bottom, so we've had to be quite careful where we fished. Obviously we're in a really wooded area anyway, so all the wood down here and all the wood down here, but against that island there shouldn't be too many sticks or branches. So I'm going to fish it on my lap, because I'm not leaving it in for long, and because we're striking potentially, you know, it's not like a method feeder or a pellet feeder where they're just going to hook themselves. We might have to hit the bites, who knows. I'm just going to watch that quiver tip, and we'll pop a little pinch in our mix there, ready for our next one. Hopefully you can see that. A couple of little dead maggots, that's ready for the next feed. Just check this, I think we might be on narrow. There we are, that's better. Yeah, so we can see what's going on a bit more now. So yeah, I've just got a little bit ready for the next feeder. That's it, we're just going to make quick casts. Nothing on that cast, no problem. Hopefully we don't hook a stick or anything. I'm not going to reel in too fast. If you reel in too fast, you get a lot of spin with worm on the hook. So we'll leave that bit of worm on. It's only a small chunk to begin with. We might want a great big snake on, we might want a little worm head on. Who knows? I'm not going to squeeze it too tight. I don't mind if it explodes on the surface a bit. Lovely. But I've come a little bit to the left of my platform because there's an awkward tree there. There's a bit of tackle hanging down anyway already. It's not mine. But yeah, so I've just gone a little bit to the left of the platform, just so I can cast without hooking that tree. It's a bit of a diagonal cast. We could have chucked it up the bank. I'm sure we could have chucked it in open water, but I like chucking to the islands and points of an island and something. It gives you something to aim at. I say there's every chance of some nice carp on this. The carp and, well, all the fish in this lake look stunning. There's not as many F1s in this lake as the others, but there are some. So I don't know what we could hook anything or nothing. Oh, that was a little bite straight away. But we might just catch silvers. I'm more than happy just to have an hour catching quality silvers on this. I don't particularly want to catch too many waspy little perch, but I'm sure we might see a few of those. So whilst waiting for that, a little pinch of worm in there again. Ooh, bit of a liner. Hopefully you can see that. So second cast, we've had a couple of indications already. Never in doubt really. It's just gone 5 o'clock. I'm going to say it's 5:15. It's 25 minutes past 5 now. So strong hook length, strong hook, because we're as likely to hook a carp as we are a roach. And in my experience with worms, you don't have to fish too fine with worms. They'll have a worm. So we could have put some micro pellets in the mix. We could have put a few casters in the mix. But I quite like just fishing minced worm and maggots. As it gets cooler, it becomes a really good way of catching fish. Or if a venue's quite pressured, this has always been a good way of catching fish. But you just don't see or hear anyone do it anymore. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. But yeah, people are obsessed with method feeders, myself included. Little method feeder, little pellet feeders. We'll give that one a little twitch this time. I didn't want to twitch, that was stuck. Something to be mindful of. Bounce back then eventually. No bites. Oh, what we got? Is that a fish or a stick? That's the best stick I've seen today. We've had a few. Oh, there's some line and all sorts attached to that. Better out the peg than in. We'll deal with that afterwards. Yeah, someone's line and everything there. 2 sticks, double stick. We'll pop a bigger bit of worm on. We've caught a lot of sticks on this lake today. It's obviously time of year and stuff, and they've all collected. Makes you wonder where they all come from, isn't it? It's not like we're surrounded by trees. Right, so I've hit the clip. I'm just sinking the line. I'm feeling the line now. I'm watching the two bits of line meet it, so it's all sunk. Sometimes you'll get a bite now. No, then we'll just tighten up on the rest. We've gained a turn or two on the reel now. Hopefully they're more than sticks are biting. Another little liner. Whoop, whoop. I'm expecting some pretty savage bites on this, and it's great fun with this little 9-foot rod as well. And we could lengthen the tail. I'm more likely to be shortening it, I think, if they really home in on that feeder. But we'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a couple of plucks and liners and a double stick. They might take 3 or 4 casts just to get them going, but we might not see a chub. I'm more than happy catching F1s and carp, or roach and skimmers, or pretty much anything. Ooh, I was just about to twitch that then. I could have used my long rest today, certainly, but every now and again you can have your rod ripped off. Again, that didn't want to drag. So it might be a mucky bottom. We might find we have to chuck a bit tighter to the bank. We shall see. Keep popping a little dollop in. Nice little plop. Rod back. Let it hit the clip. Just buys yourself a bit of line. Yeah, we've had a nice day on here today. It's not been easy fishing, but I think the sticks have been the biggest problem. Oh, there we are. I think that might be a carp. Just as I was tightening it up, might be an F1. Decent fish anyway, and that's had it whilst I was sinking the line. That's why I put it between my 2 fingers as I sink. I think it's an F1. A little bit of line. That's encouraging anyway. So soon. And not a pellet in sight. I think it's a nice F1. Oh no, little mirror. Little mirror. Yeah. So even all the fish look stunning at this place. Lovely. Oh yeah, proper pasty. Cornish pasty. Yeah. Stunning little fish. How dark and vivid they are. Quite slippery. Might be able to pick him up. A slippery little sucker. There we are. Nice fish to start with. Rip round that, didn't it? Do you know what I haven't got? My towel. Let's go get my towel. Can't fish worms without a towel. Anyway, we're off the blocks. Towel. Can't fish without a towel, can we? Hmm? So, that worked. Let's down a big bit of worm to begin with. Just rake the very end off. A little bit in there. The time of day now, we should be catching on anything really, but it's just a nice, enjoyable way to catch. I'm not saying it's the best way. but it's certainly an effective way on its day. Used to work really well at Whiteacres when it got really heavily pressured. You're almost sick of pellets and wafters and things, and you'd fish a little chopworm feeder and you'd catch really well. Particularly good in October, that sort of changeover month when they're almost had enough, and I've seen it all before. And this is a clear venue, pretty clear. That's why that fish was so dark and vivid. So any sort of clearish venue, I think a chopworm feeder works particularly well because it's quite a visual way of catching. I think they watch it fall. Have a little bites. Looks, dips, taps. So I'm fishing a 14 to a 18 at the moment. Some venues I wouldn't hesitate to fish much heavier than a 12 hook. And if it was just small F1s and things I was expecting, I might go down to 0.16. This is a good sort of catch everything compromise. And on that 14 I can put any size hook bait, 2 or 3 maggots, worm heads, whole worm, the whole caboodle. But we might have to chuck even tighter, but I'm deliberately starting 2 or 3 foot away. So I think it gives me a chance of catching more species, I think, and a bit more depth with it falling. Just gives you a bit more chance of catching their eye on the way down. I might try 2 or 3 dead maggots soonish as well, because that's a lovely wafty, slow sinking hook bait. Try and drag it. Yeah, I could drag it that time. That's the beauty of this as well. You can actually move the feeder. Obviously, if you're method feeder fishing or pellet feeder, you don't want to spring that trap. Can't it? Let's get another one. Just be impatient as well. Just keep casting. No harm in keeping casting. It's just spun off a little bit. I might have just hooked itself. Let's go down to a little bit again. Just a much smaller bit of worm. I reeled in too fast, so you get a little bit of a spin up. That's not a problem. They're all unravelled. Just check the hook lengths. Fine, it is. The feeder's as simple, free running and tangle free as possible. It's another reason why you might want to fish a slightly thicker hook length, just because you get a bit less spin. I fully expect to get a little bit of spin up fishing worms on the hook. I'm sure if we scaled right down, we'd catch a lot more silverfish on this. But then you're asking for trouble. You saw how violent that fish we had was. Some of these I might actually strike at like that. Yeah. What have we got? What have we got? Oh wow, hybrid. That's what we've been catching today. Look at that, stunning fish. You don't catch those on the method feeder, do you? Lovely. And I struck at that as well. I think that was important. Good. Bit of worm. I'm just going to break a little bit off and go back in with that bit of worm. When it's good, you shouldn't need to change it. That's another beauty of fishing with worm. You can catch a few fish on the same one. It's only a little worm head. Good. It's nice to actually have to strike as well, isn't it? We're not just setting a trap. I wouldn't really call that a nuisance fish, would you? That's a nice quality weight building fish. If it was a competition, they add up. Oh, bigger than I thought. What have we got? Another one. Beautiful. Oh, it's a skimmer, proper skimmer, that one. Yeah. Lovely. No rain, no umbrella. So that was on a little bit of worm. Quite keen to try things even though that was working. I'm going to let's try 3 dead maggots. All in the pointy bit. Oh, so far so good. There's a heavier feeder than what I used on the canal when I did my recent canal session in the rain, because I want to be able to tighten up to this pretty quick. I want it to be quite direct to that island, and I'm chucking to a harder bottom. I'm not chucking on silt. I just think a little 15-20 gram but small cage is perfectly fine for this. But actually the heavier the feeder, the more accurate the cast. So anyway, it's working. That's all we need to know. But yeah, this lake's called Gratuities, or a lot of us call it Grats. God knows what the name means or where it comes from. You've got the golf course runs around the back here as well. Beautiful little lake, but all the lakes here are nice. But this one's particularly nice and secluded. Yeah, shouldn't have struck then really, but yeah, lovely little secluded lake. Pop a really big bit of worm on now then. Let's go the other way. Looks like someone's behind me, but it's probably the magpies. They've been trying to get in my van all day. Pesky old magpies. I had a squirrel in my van the other day. He was actually in my front seat eating my bags of pellets. If you go to Meadowlands, it's squirrels. If you go here, it's magpies. You go to Tunnel Barn, it's a menacing flock of jackdaws. Things are up against now. But we've had very little duck trawl today. In fact, I've not seen a duck. The only ducking I've seen is people with their golf balls flying through the trees. I think that little bits of worm might be the answer today, looking at the response we're having so far. Just put a segment on. I might find we have to mix this ground bait a little bit sloppier, but I thought I'd start on the dry side to begin with. I'm tempted to just knock it up a little bit sloppier. A nice sloppy stodge. We should get a bite on this on these tiny little bits. There you are, straight away. You see that? It hadn't settled, but something had it. That's the beauty of feeling it with your fingers as it goes down. I'll swing this. Just about. Oh. It started. Beautiful. But that had it instantly, hadn't it? So they're obviously having those segments of worm. Proper mangled that. Doesn't like dragging, so it's definitely it's a bobbly bottom, shall we say? Nothing that chuck. Couple of little liners. Oh, there's a bit blob of slime on the spade there. What have we got? Oh, here's another skimmer. A little one, very little skimmer, that one. Done it again. Oh, it's come off that one, but that was as soon as I set up, nicked my worm and everything, that one. Enjoying this. Oh. Feed a short line as well. Always feed a short line. That was another little skimmer, I think. But it was on it quick. If you don't feel the line like this, you wouldn't know. And that little heavier feeder helps. That swam towards me, that perch. Classic worm snaffler. We took a few casts before we saw a perch though. Oh, big swirl there. That's where my feeder dropped, wasn't it? Come on, baby. Whoop. Should I have struck then? More like a liner than a bite to strike at, I think. I think I should probably just fish till this bowl of ground bait's used up. And that's a 3-pint tub. It's half full, so pint and a half of ground bait, handful of worms, a few dead reds. Nice enjoyable way to pass an hour or two. Yeah, those little slivers are definitely better, aren't they? At least for these. I've got another skimmer. Won't net that one. It's a bit flappy. It's really hot and humid today, and other than those, I don't know, a dozen chub, I've seen 1 or 2 carp cruising up and down. In fact, I can see one there down the middle. It's just been cruising between the point and there all day. But other than that, there's not been a lot of fish moving. Very little. There we are. Oh, savage. Missed it. Could have been a perch. Right, we're going to have one more cast at that range. We'll leave that on. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just chuck an empty feeder. You don't always have to feed bait. I'm scared of carp or something then. And I'll just take, I'm going to say 2 foot off. And then next cast we'll go further across. Like I say, we didn't have to, but quite keen to see what we catch tighter. I'm not going to wait. Let's just go tighter. We'll clip that. I imagine it's really undercut. It's an old lake, this. Very old lake. Yeah. You probably could go another foot tighter, but I think that's enough to start with. I'm tempted to just make it as a mix now, because there's not a load there anyway. So let's just make a mix that we don't have to add to. We'll just mix a load of chopped worm into the ground bait. Just keep plugging that each time. So there's, rather than plug in each end with some chopped worm, we'll just mix them in. So it's evenly distributed. Yeah. We'll do that. We'll just mix this in. Bites. So there's going to be a little bit of chopped worm in there and an odd dead maggot every chuck. We'll do that to all of it. Let's just mix it all in. Because we're not fishing for long anyway, and I am going to be putting it in every chuck. Yeah. That's it. If it was a longer session, I'd have a little working bowl and then I'd add and subtract to it. If we twitch it back, we're obviously over the original spot. So we get 2 bites at the cherry. That was on for a while, that. I don't know. Maybe it is a skimmer, I wasn't sure because it came in a bit differently. Yeah, it is a skimmer. Yeah, he was on for a while, that. Lovely fish though, aren't they? I mean, that's a small skimmer, but look how bronze they are. Oh, he's doing a bit of poo as well. Well, the skimmers always poo on you. I think there's a carp just down here. Just saw something erupt a bit. The hook length looked a little bit kinked at the top, so I'm just going to shorten it anyway. I wanted to try a shorter hook length anyway, so perfect opportunity or excuse to do so. Probably I don't know, 9-inch hook length now. Sometimes better, especially if they're homing in on that feeder. Put it on that little hook, pull that collar over, and we are back in business straight away. Yeah, so a nice short one now. See that? Nice short one. A little bit of a tag there. Let's just drop that tag down a bit. That's it. Didn't look very pretty. Yeah. So we've got a much tighter, shorter tail now. Just just clip that bit of grass. We could have done this with a little cage and little micros and a wafter or a bit of corn or something, or an expander. Something nice about fishing with worms. So if this don't work, we'll just retie another hook length and just pull a longer one on. Just tied them on the bank anyway, rather than using my precious stash. Ooh, should I have? Shouldn't I have? He's still on. That, oh, bad angling. Yeah, I'm not convinced those dead reds are right, you know. But that was smashed to smithereens. Let's go back to worm. Worm seems right. That's what we're feeding the most of as well. Greedy old perch. Nice looking fish though. Whoop. Press it in quite hard this time. So it's not going to explode out, it's going to go straight down. Yeah, that worked, didn't it? Oh, that might be a carp. Better fish anyway. What have we got here then? It's not quite like a carp. What have we got? Take your time, Johnny boy. Oh, that went around a stick or something. Definitely got caught up on a stick. We're free again now. What's going? I hope it's F1. Yeah, F1. Yeah. Shorter hook length. Stunning little F1. Lovely fish in this venue. Vivid fish. Good. And that was after a bit of a twitch with a shorter hook length. So we've had skimmers, hybrids, perch, carp and F1s. Oh, another skimmer. Oh, it is a skimmer. Small one. It's been good since shortening that hook length actually. Better than I thought. And I'm really squeezing it in, compressing it in. get some a little bit more homed in on your hook bait and harder to take what's in your feeder, I think. Scared some at a foot further out then. Must have been right under the reeds. Wonder if we should go even tighter. Not got long, have we? Shall we see what happens this chuck? Then we'll go even tighter. Yep, right. Whilst we're waiting for that, let's go what about that? A bit tighter. A bit tighter. We're going right into the lion's den now. Just going over that little bit of grass. Oh, just about to pick up. Yeah. Oh, savage. Alright, let's just go back to little slivers because that seems better to me. You know, little maggot sized bits. For whatever reason, they just seem to prefer smaller bits today. Right, let's just tie a new hook, a longer one. That looked a bit kinky, not in a good way. New hook, longer tail. See what the difference is with that. Probably about 18" now. Just put a sliver on. Oh yeah, there's definitely one here. Might have to try and catch him in a sec. Got some dead bones. Let's chuck those down there. Smidging down there. So we've gone the other way now. We've gone longer on the tail. Good 18". But I definitely think if there are F1s and stuff about, sometimes a really short hook length can get you more bites, or more hittable bites, or more self-hooking bites. I'm seeing a swell down here. I'm half tempted to have a little drop down there. But you know what? I can see the tail. Shall we have a go? I could just about make out a tail down there. Just pop a bunch of maggots. It's not really what we came to do, but can't resist trying to catch one. Proper zoom off if we hook one. Oh yeah, straight away on it. You see? That's how clear the water is. Look at his tail. I need to slacken this off a little bit. Oh yeah, there's at least 3. Look at the size of that. 3 or 4. Wow. He'll be on. I couldn't resist. Not if you see 3 or 4 down there. Oh, I thought he'd come off. He just started swimming towards me. Big one, some of those. I've hardly put anything down there as well. There was one that looked about £8. It's not this one. At least we'll show you how stunning the fish are in here. Yeah, there are mirrors down there. That's a nice big common. Stone coal stunner. Oh, knock that one off. Well, I couldn't resist, but he has had me hook in the landing net, the bugger. I'll quickly tie a new hook on. We'll get back to our island. So we've still got a longish tail, probably about 15" now. 15" tail. Back to a longish tail. Let's try 3 dead reds again. Just a bit of fun, chucking a little cage. Shake, rattle and rolling. Yep. Percy the perch again. I was on 3 deads. Haven't tried a big bit of worm up for a while, have we? Oh, there's one come straight. Oh, that's a big fish. Oh, that was a big fish. There you are. That's one as well. Great big one came down here. Might be a carp. Carp or an F1 this is. End of a nice flow. I'm going to say it's an F1. That was on a big bit of worm that time, wasn't it? Oh, it is a carp, I think. Is it a carp? No, F1. Yeah, much bigger bit of worm that time. Longer tail. Okay. Just try the lot. Always learning, aren't we? That worm looked alright. Not a lot wrong with that. I'll use that again. So it was only a very quick session. I've caught plenty of fish. It's not been solid, but I've caught enough. Another method to think about, really. One more nice chunky fish. Maybe 2. You know me. Alright, back on 3 deads. About a 15" tail we've got on. That's on, I think. Yeah, it's coming towards me. There's a perch. Oh. Perch like dead maggots more than worms today. Back on a chunk of worm then. Clock's ticking, it's going to have to be my last fish, I'm afraid. Try and catch a nice quality fish to end on. That'll be him. Right on cue. Hopefully it's an F1. Again, smaller bit of worm. If I've learned anything today, like 2 or 3 maggots, perch, big worm, not very good really. I've had one reasonable fish on it. Little bits of worm. Not really matching what we're feeding really. Another F1. Oh! Do you want to come in? Come on. Crikey. There we go, gotcha. Smallest F1 of the day and the angriest fight. You can see that little bit of worm in this mush. Or you could. Yeah. A bit of worm. Nice chunky F1. Lovely. Alright, let's get packing up.